It is indeed. That's the way it rolls in this part of the world. We're going to have a bit of miserableness coming in, but 1st of June you'd expect that. We haven't got miserableness on the line at the moment. We've got joy and happiness, a man who joins us regularly on the Monday front page. Your first outing with him, Loretta, but he's a good lad. His name's Anton Guinea, and he's going to talk about being grateful. Good morning, young fella.
Morning, Rob, and morning, Loretta. How are we, team?
Good morning, Anton.
Good to have you back. It's always something different we chat about, and well, I was caught with this one because it's probably something that we occasionally forget when we don't realise how good we've got it. Being grateful is something perhaps not a lot of us stop and actually think about. What about you? You've had an interesting life. You had a terrible accident, but it's opened up doors for you. So are you grateful where your life's at?
Oh, absolutely, Rob. And it's amazing, isn't it? I think what you said then was really pertinent to 90% of the population, where I think we tend to think sometimes about what's gone wrong for us instead of what's gone right for us, and how much life has given us, and the fact that there's so many people out there that would actually want our life. We don't realise just how gifted or how lucky we are sometimes, and I don't just mean from a country perspective. I just mean from an interpersonal perspective that we have got everything that we need in abundance. And yes, I know a lot of people go through grief, and yes, 46% of Australians will suffer from mental health, and a lot of people come out the other side though, and when we do, and I've had a workplace incident, I've had some other stuff going in life, and I'm one of the 46% who spent 100 days really not thinking clearly with anxiety, so I get it. At the end of the day, though, we've still got it, and I just wish I knew back then, during that 100 days, what I know now about being grateful and about actually focusing, and that's what it's about, focusing on what we've got and what we've got to be thankful for, rather than what we're missing and what our life isn't about. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's quite true, but sometimes it's just simply not being aware of what you have to be grateful about when things pile up and you think, oh, woe is me, why is this happening? But sometimes just you could spend 20 years going through your life building up friendships, relationships through work or sport, whatever the case may be, and then things go a little bit wrong, and then all of those people come around you to support, and you probably don't realise and don't understand that you should be grateful for this. This is just a gift in itself, developing a network of support that comes to your aid, and you probably miss out on the fact that you should be grateful for that.
Oh, mate, there's just one thing to be grateful for, right? And I love it, Rob. That's so important. The power of relationships, and one of the longest studies in the world on happiness and longevity has shown that quality relationships, interpersonal and intimate relationships, are the things that will be probably the most important indicator of how happy you are during your life. And get this, how long you live, believe it or not. How crazy is that? Longevity and happiness is linked to relationships. And I think you're right. Sometimes we forget to stop, and it's a focus thing. It's easy, like you said, it's easy to really get stuck in the quagmire of what's going wrong. We need some sort of a trigger, I think, in life, whether it's before bed, having a journal beside your bed, or whether it's an app on your computer that flicks up occasionally that just does the finger click for you and goes, you know what, just spend 5 minutes being grateful. And whether it's just for the cup of coffee that you're having, or whether it's for toilet paper, because that's a really cool invention, because that makes life a little bit easier, or it's just the chair that you're sitting on that it's not broken and it's got 4 legs that supports your body weight. And they're only the little things. And I think sometimes we stop and we think we've got to be grateful for the big stuff, for life, or our finances, or our family, friends, and friends, absolutely, that's the relationship piece. But I think there's also this piece of just, smelling the roses, walk around the garden, like get out of the office and just go and get some vitamin D, and just be grateful that you've got 2 legs and 2 feet that will carry you outside the office. There are a lot of people that don't have that ability. I've got quadriplegic and disabled friends that can't walk, and we take this stuff so much for granted. Rob. And it's something that it takes a little trigger each day, and I think it's a daily thing. And the more grateful we can be, the more resilient we become, mate. As Van Heilenberg tells us in the Resilience Project. Gratitude, resilience, gratitude, resilience. Build your gratitude, be grateful more often, and all of a sudden you're more resilient when the time comes to deal with the tough stuff. Oh, fun fact.
Fun fact. I love the fact, Anton, that you've brought it back to being grateful for the small things, like the chair you're sitting on, the toilet paper. I mean, we were all grateful during COVID. We realised, toilet paper ain't there all the time when we really want it. And I think, we're talking so much more about gratitude these days, which is amazing. But I think that what I'm also noticing, and I'd love your insight into this, Anton, is that there's been a shift from potentially our childhood when we were told that we should be grateful. There are starving children in Africa who would love this meal. You should be eating your vegetables and you should be grateful for it. To being able to be grateful in the moment, which is that shift. I think the oldie times of our childhood, potentially gratitude was linked with guilt. Because we should be doing this. We should, and if you're not grateful for what you've got, then you're a bad person. Well, I wasn't going to say it, but thank you. So, that's what I'm noticing. This shift away from guilt. What are your thoughts on that, Anton?
Oh, what a great pick-up, Loretta.
Thanks,
I've never really. What a beautiful comment. I've never really conceptualised it like that, and I think maybe there's this whole maturity thing that comes as we grow, and you don't even realise as a parent, we probably, said that sort of stuff to our kids. We certainly heard it as kids. I think as we grow and as we mature, and I think adulthood and having children and being more responsible in life probably changes our outlook a little bit, and we get to the point where we're mature enough to not see being grateful as a guilty emotion. It's more of a positive emotion. And it's funny, thanks for reminding me about that, because I've never really conceptualised that, we sometimes have been in the past, and I'm probably an older generation to you, but, we were made to feel guilty because we had stuff, and we were made to, eat more or whatever it is because someone else didn't. And that's a really nice reflection to actually go, you know what, maybe let's not think about gratitude like that. And if that is a limiting belief for some people, and it probably will be because our conditioning's so important, let's flick that switch and just let's say, hey, it's not about feeling guilty. It's about feeling positive, and it's about re-energising, and it's about, having a different outlook on life. Not I've got something that someone else doesn't have, but hey, I've got something that I'm just really grateful for, and whatever it is, the universe has provided this, and I'm just happy. And a lot of people struggle with this, Loretta, because they really struggle to do a gratitude journal. So if you ask anyone that's ever tried to do a gratitude journal, a lot of people struggle to be consistent with it, and maybe that's that limiting belief that there's a guilt that goes along with it, or some people say, well, I run out of things to be grateful about.
Anton, in our preparation for this, and I use that word loosely because I don't do much, but I did mention to you in an email about chasing the Joneses, that old expression about keeping up with them. But sometimes you can actually miss the good things about you when you look over the fence and someone might have something that you think you should have, and it's constantly chasing your tail almost, which again puts you under great emotional pressure and often financial pressure as well, unnecessary because you don't realise all the good things you already had to start with.
Mate, another great point. I love keeping up with the Joneses. There's this thing in personal development, Rob, that is really about not only gratitude for what we've got. When you see your friends or your family or your acquaintances or whoever have some success in life, imagine if we could, and this is like next level of, I guess, emotional maturity to a degree, imagine if we could be grateful for them and go, hey, congrats, great job, I'm really, really happy for you. There's some science around being happy for other people's achievements. There's some science around, the word envy and jealousy, and not being like that, but being comfortable that someone else is achieving and actually celebrating not only your own success, their success, and go, you know what, top shelf, great work. And you know what, I think about it like when someone goes into business, you know, like we sort of poo-poo them and we try to talk them out of, oh, don't quit your job, you know, don't go. I remember I had all these conversations because people are a bit fearful, I think, that you might be more successful, that you might, you know, make more money. And we have this real tall poppy syndrome in Australia, Rob, and I wonder whether the Joneses is around, you know, that tall poppy syndrome. Well, they got more than me, and I need, you know, they must be, and we're conditioned, as Loretta said before, with some weird stuff around money, not just gratitude when we're growing up, that, you know, money's the root of all evil, and you've got to step over people to get to the top, and all that sort of blah, blah, blah-de, 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 blah. And I wonder whether some of those limiting beliefs sit behind that. We look over the fence and go, well, they got more than us. You know, they must, you know, be this or that, and then we'll judge them instead of saying, oh, great work, well done. Imagine saying this instead, gee, they must have worked hard for what they've got, or congratulations, all of their effort is paying off, and well done to them. And look, they've got more now to contribute, to be philanthropic, or look at the good they're doing in the community, not just getting stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's putting a different lens on it and a different spin on it.
What we're seeing, I don't know what it's like in Brisbane, but I'm seeing in Geelong and certainly in Melbourne, the opportunity now with the real estate market, low interest rates, with people suburb hopping, because a certain postcode gives the perception of success in life over another. So you'd put a really, really tight noose around your neck because living in that suburb with that postcode means that you've made it, which is just absolute nonsense. And that's an example that I have, certainly, that people should be grateful for what they have and build on it rather than chasing someone else's success.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I don't know how we change some of that, Robert. That's a tough one, and you probably don't see it as much. I'm a bit more regional, just a little bit further up from Brizzy, so we're probably a little bit more country than metropolitan, and so we don't probably have that postcode thing as much as a big city would. In saying that, though, yeah, I know I get it, and I just, you know, young people, like, you know, it's really hard for young people to get into the property market, and then they get these massive mortgages. And I'm lucky we've got two boys. One of them's in real estate, and they're actually doing it a little bit sensibly. You know, like, I see their friends, and I see them go to their first house, and they want the $1 million home first up, and this is probably an equivalent to what you're talking about. Instead of actually having the first house that's a 2 or 3 bedder that's out in the, you know, way out in the burbs, that you got to you got to paint. You might even have to renovate this thing, right? And actually, you got to mow your yards, and put a garden in to actually add some value to the place instead of just buying the, you know, 21i. I want a house like my parents who have been working for the last 40 years. I want a nice.
Yeah, very common.
Yeah,
that's right.
So I get it.
So, Anton, you're talking about, creating some time or some space in the day to reflect and notice what you're grateful for, maybe a gratitude journal. Now, for the people that are listening, they're like, why bother? What's in it for me? I think often if we can answer that question for people and help them maybe do a bit of behaviour change, what do you get? What do you get when you are focusing on what we're grateful for, when we're like leaning into gratitude?
Oh, love it. Sounds very Brene Brownish there, Loretta. I love it. And in a sentence, it changes your emotional state. Gratitude and thankfulness is the quickest and easiest way to have a shift, Loretta, in how you're feeling in the moment. It's this crazy thing, like, and imagine if you changed your body at the same time, like smiled and, you know, you open your chest up so that you could breathe a little bit more clearly, so to oxygenate the frontal lobes of your brain. All of a sudden, you cannot be grumpy, crappy, upset when you're grateful. You cannot be down when you're thankful. It's this huge emotional change, shift that you can do. Just whether it's, for me, it's lying in bed at night. For some humans, it's during the day. It's just sitting back and just smelling the roses. But if you want to completely change your emotional state to one that's happy, that's pleasant, that is calmer. Try gratitude. If you're someone that has got some stress in your life at the moment, try gratitude. And don't believe me, try it. You know what I mean? Just have the experience of sitting back and writing down, I am thankful for, I am grateful for, I love. I use I love in my gratitude journal. I love the meal that we had tonight. I love this or I love that. But it really does actually center you. It gets you present in the moment. And it actually takes you away from everything that's going on in the world for you. I do it before bed because I actually find that it helps me sleep better. I kid you not, I think I missed 1 or 2 days this year because I was out of town and I forgot to take my gratitude journal. But this year, finally, Loretta, I've actually got every single day, pretty much year to date, gratitude journal, 5 things I'm grateful for every single day. And feeling better about life, sleeping better, waking up better. It's weird. It's this weird thing. And in the early days, it's just more of a moment-by-moment thing. Mrs. G and I, maybe we'd be lying in bed and I'd say, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you, baby. Or I'm grateful for this. I love this and I love that. Love that meal you cooked tonight. And, in the moment you feel so grateful and so happy. And all of a sudden, you wake up the next morning and you still feel a bit happy.
That's gorgeous. I love it.
And Anton, let's just move this straight away, perfect segue into your other passion thing is about the aura around you, the aura you give off. Because if you, without meaning to then take this joy and happiness that you start the day with and go up to people and say, hey, I'm better than you, but you do what I do and you'll be happy. It's just you instantly create an environment that then affects those around you, because if they are feeling down and you light the room up, as you said last time, instantly people around you feel better.
Oh, well said, Robert, and thank you for Loretta for great questions today. That aura thing is such a beautiful thing. I've done even more research on it since then. There's a great book, Dr. Hawkins, Power versus, not focus, the word escapes me at the moment, power versus something, and it's just about the power of this aura. So you imagine, and after our conversation last time where we talked about an emotional field around us, you imagine the people that you would touch. Imagine like that lighting the room up. Imagine, lighting your family up. Imagine coming home at the end of the day and not bringing tough stuff at home or from work home because you've just spent a minute or two being grateful, and all of a sudden you show up different in your family. This aura thing is just such a big deal because not only, Robert and Loretta, do we influence others with our aura, with our emotional state, which is just unbelievable. They're measuring it now. They're actually, you can get the science now that talks about, the measurement and the power of our emotions and how far out they go, for example, and how it does affect other people. It's scientifically proven now, which is crazy. And the thing about that is not only will we influence others, but we attract more of it.
It's pretty cool phenomenon. Power versus Force by David Hawkins.
Powerful. That's the one.
Yeah, it's great. And I think you talk about aura. I often talk about raising your vibration, and it's a really similar concept.
Same.
And people sometimes they'll look at you and they're like, I don't get it. And I say, have you ever walked into a room and thought, I like her. Like, she's cool. I want to go and chat with her. You've never met them before. Or conversely, you walk into a room and think, I'm not going near her. She looks like a piece of work. And we're picking up on that all the time, aren't we?
All the time. And we're subconsciously programmed to do that, Loretta. Like, we've got this emotional part of our brain called our limbic system that is always on the alert for people that we know, like, and trust. And part of that is it's actually sensing emotional states, because what Robert and I talked about last time was these mirroring neurons, right? So we mirror other people's emotional states, whether we know them or not, even when we just first meet them. So even in 0.12 of a second, we've actually made that decision that you just talked about then. And a lot of people are in touch with that. You are. Some people aren't. They don't get it, and they don't just sort of even walk up to the person they don't know, and then all of a sudden they're sort of wondering why they're there, and this isn't comfortable, and I'm not enjoying this, rather than being in touch with what you're feeling and what you're experiencing from an emotional perspective and from a frequency perspective and a vibration perspective. I love, and here's another word for you, synchronicity, and flow, getting in flow with other humans. And, you know, the better we can show up because we're grateful or because we're positive, the better people we attract into our life, the more positivity we attract. And we get to spend time with humans like ourselves who are upbeat. And, you know, it's not just about positive thinking, I get that, but it's about, you know, positive emotional state. And, yes, there's times where we've got to experience the tough stuff, and I get that, and support people through it. I already had a conversation with someone this morning that reached out, and this is the way the conversation went. He said, Anton, I'm 52. I'm in my 12th year of my midlife crisis that started at 40. Can you help me? I said, yeah, absolutely, mate, no worries. So, you know, there's times when we've got to have those conversations too. But at the end of the day, we want to spend most of our time and most of our life, if we can, around positive humans, and that starts with us. We can't expect to get love if we can't, you know, give love, or give love to ourselves particularly, for example, as one emotion. So the law of attraction is a big deal, team, and that's what the vibration is. We send out these great vibes because we're in a positive state and we're grateful. And all of a sudden people are attracted to that. And the law of attraction in the book The Secret by Rhonda Byrne is just an amazing example of, you know, what you put out there, you attract back into your life. And if you want good stuff and if you want positive emotions, put more of that out there and just see what happens.
Anton, you have brightened us again. Thank you very much, my friend. I do enjoy these conversations.
Love it.
We never know where they're going, but they always go in a positive direction. Good luck with your projects, whatever it is you take on, and keep spreading the word, because that's a very good lesson today. I really appreciate it.
Love your work, Robert and Loretta. Thanks for having me. As always, big shout out to your audience, Rob. We know that they're avid listeners, so keep up the good work down at your end too.
No worries, mate. We'll talk to you in a month or so.
Righto, team. Bye-bye.